Okay, this is my second video on equations of a circle, and you can see here that from the start I do mean business. Typically what an exam question would look like, and it would be a bit more wordy in the exam. It might be that they've given you the equation of the circle. They might ask you to draw it on a graph, which you probably would have done, which would probably tend to look something like that. And then they would say, okay, once you finish doing that, could you then either use the graph or otherwise find a solution to this? You can see that this is going to be a straight line with a gradient of 3. So that might be a line that sort of does something like that. And what you need to do once you finish doing that is find where the circle and the line cross each other, read off those x values and the y values there to then prove that that will be your answer. Okay, if you choose to go the route of otherwise, this is where I will now quickly run through what it is that you will have to do. So let's take, for example, the very first question that we've got there. And in that very first question, we're going to solve this as a pair of simultaneous equations because that's what it is. So what we'll do is we'll call this equation 1, we'll call this equation 2. The way that we'll need to go about solving it is by use of the substitution method. Obviously, we don't have a graph here to do it with, so we're going to go through the substitution method. I'm going to make the assumption here that you can solve a pair of simultaneous equations via substitution method. If you can't, it might be an idea to go and check out one of my other videos on substitution method. But let's go. What we do here is y is already the subject, so I'm going to substitute this whole equation into there. So where I see y, which there is 1 there, I will put this in its place. So let's get to work. Let's put that to one side and to make some space. So we're going to have then, just tell the examiner what you're doing. Substitute equation 2 into equation 1. So we're going to start writing equation 1, and where we see y, we'll replace it with that. So this then gives us x squared plus 3x minus 5 square is equal to 25. Now we expand this bracket using our method of FOIL or whatever it is you want to do. Bear in mind, if you watch the last video, you will remember that this means that this bracket is multiplied by itself. Okay, so I'm not going to go through that, I'll just jump straight through it. So that gives us then x squared plus 9x squared minus 30x plus 25. Bring this 25 over, you get minus 25, and there's nothing left over there, which you do want because you know you're going to end up with a quadratic and you'll need to solve it anyway. So anyway, add up the bits that you can. 9x and x squared will give you 10x squared. The 30x we can do nothing about, so we keep that 30x there. 30x, and 25 take away 25 leaves you with nothing, equals nothing. All right, I like those odds. Now that I know that that's nothing, I can just get rid of that and just put it as equal 0 there. Now, if you want, you can simplify this by dividing by 10. I don't really see the point because this is straightforward here. You now factorize this, bringing the 10x out. So 10x comes out, and you'd be left with x minus 3 in brackets there equals 0. Now if you've got two things multiplying and it's equal to 0, then it means that one of them has to be 0. So it's either the 10x is equal to 0 or the x minus 3 is equal to 0. Well, that means that x is 0 here or x is equal to 3. Once we have brought this 3 over to the other side there, we get x is equal to 3. So I've got two answers for x. And yes, you guessed it, I'm going to have to take these answers now, substitute it into any of the two equations to find out what the value of y would be. So now, here we go. So we substitute x is equal to 0. I like using equation 2 because y is already the subject in this equation, so I'll just substitute 0 there. That will then give us y is equal to 3 times 0 minus 5. So it means y is minus 5. Do the same thing for the other value. Substitute x is equal to 3 this time in the same equation. Doesn't matter which one you use. You can use equation 1 or 2, but I like using 2. It's easier. Y is already the subject there. So that gives us y is equal to 3 times 3 this time, plus 2, sorry, minus 5. Okay, so that's going to be minus 5 there. That gives us 9 minus 5, which gives us 4. So finally then, you can set out the answer however you like. I choose to set it out this way. When x was 0, y was minus 5, and when x was 3, y was 4. Okay, and that is basically done. All right, now your turn to have a go at 1. So here we have the same thing again, and I've already worked out this first one. So maybe you can have a go at the second one. So have a go at the second one on your own, pause the video and then have a go, and then I'll quickly solve it. Okay, so the second one then, let's make a little bit of space, put that on the side over there. And again, y is already the subject, and I might want to call this equation 1 and call this equation 2. So I will then substitute equation 2 into equation 1. So wherever I see y, I will replace it with 2x. So we get then x squared plus 2x all square is equal to 45. And this will now give us x squared plus 4x squared. I bring that 45 over, minus 45 is equal to 0. 5x squared minus 45 is equal to 0 there. And, well, probably should not have brought that 45 over. There's not a lot I can do with it now. I just have to put it back on the other side. So 5x squared is 45. Divide by 5, x squared is equal to 45 divided by 5. X is equal to plus or minus the square root of 9. So it means that x is plus or minus 3. Hope that didn't catch you by surprise. Hope you know that when you square root, you're actually finding plus or minus of a number. That's because whether or not I square a plus 3 or a minus 3, I will still get a positive 9. Okay, so plus or minus 3. Same sort of situation now. I will need to now substitute these two answers into any of these two equations to find y. I choose 2 again, so I'm going to substitute x is equal to a positive 3 into equation 2, and that means removing the x and putting 3 in its place. So y is equal to 2 times 3, which is 6. Do the same thing, substitute equation x is minus 3 minus 3 into equation 2 as well. So y is equal to 2 times minus 3, which is minus 6. So finally, we can say when x was 3, the y value was 6. When x was minus 3, the y value was minus 6. Okay. Finally then, before I leave you to go on your own and try some for yourselves, we're going to look at one where it's not so easy to factorize. Okay, so let's look at a different one. All right, so we've done that one, we've done this one. Now we're going to look at E, just for the fun of it. Okay, let's look at E then. So let's zoom that out a bit again. So again, I'm going to go for equation 1, equation 2, and I am going to go straight for substitute equation 2 into equation 1. And by now you got the hang of it. You can see what's going on. Wherever there is a y, I'm going to substitute x minus 3 in its place. So that gives us then x squared plus x minus 3 all square is equal to 6 there. Okay, let's go for expanding this bracket. So like again, you can use your FOIL to expand that because it's a bracket by itself. So that gives us x squared plus x squared there minus 6x plus 9 is equal to 6. You can add your 2x squares up, giving you 2x squared minus 6x. You can bring this 6 over, becomes a minus 6, and 9 take away 6 will give us 3. And then we got nothing left over there. Now immediately what you should notice is that this can't be factorized. You'll have to use whichever methods you can use completing the square, or you can use a quadratic formula. Now because the quadratic formula tends to be more popular, I will use the quadratic formula to then go through this. So we'll identify straight away. Let's write down the formula. The formula says that x is minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And then now I'll define my a, b, and c. A is the coefficient of x squared, b is the coefficient of x, and c is the constant. So a is 2, b is minus 6, and c is 3. Now I hope that by now you should be pretty much proficient in using the quadratic formula. In any case, let's go through it. X is equal to minus b, but b is already negative, so that means that's becoming a plus 6. It's a minus 6. Plus or minus the square root of minus 6 squared minus 4 times 2 times 3 all over 2 times a, which and a is 2. Okay. Now once we've got that, that's going to tell us then that x will be equal to 6 plus or minus the square root of 36. Take away, well, 4 times 2 is 8, and 8 times 3 is 24. So then that gives us 24 there, all over 4. Okay, finish this off now. I think what I will do, let's bring it down and keep the answer exact, and then we'll work it from there with the calculator, maybe. So 6 plus or minus the square root of, well, 36 take away 24 is going to give us 12, and divided by 4. So this will be your exact answers. It means one of your answers is 6 plus root 12 divided by 4, and your other answer is 6 minus root 12 divided by 4. What we could do, actually, yeah, let's get the answer as a rounded decimal to 2 decimal places. Okay, just punch it in a calculator real quick, and this first answer is going to be 2.37, and so that's x equal 2.37, and x is going to equal to 0.63. Okay, now that we've got those two answers, we'll do the exact same thing we were doing all along and go ahead and substitute that to find the y values. So we're going to use equation 2 again. Just a reminder, in case I made that too small for you, equation 2 is y is equal to x minus 3. And now that I've got these two x values here, all I have to do is substitute them. So I'm going to say that what I'm going to do, let's just partition that a little bit. Substitute x is equal to 2.37 into equation 2. So y is equal to 2.37, take away 3, which gives us minus 0.63. And then we do the same thing again, substitute x is equal to 0.63 this time into equation 2. So y is equal to 0.63 take away 3, which gives us minus 2.37 this time. So finally we can say our answers are as follows. When x was equal to 2.37, y was minus 0.63. When x was equal to 0.63, y was minus 2.37. Okay guys, so there we have it. And that is the end of that. So on the next slide, we've got all the questions again. Here they are. We've done quite a few of them actually. So we've done this one, we've done that, and we've just done this one now. I'm not going to provide answers for the rest, but the rest will form as a form of practice for you. Once you've practiced them and you got your answers, please make sure you substitute back the answers in here. So substitute your x value there and your y value there, and see you get 68. If it's a rounded answer like the one we have just done for this one, you might not get back the exact answer, but you should get an answer really, really close to it. Like you should just be about 1/10 away from it or something like that. So if you're miles away, then it's definitely wrong. But if you're really close, like if I substitute my answer here and I got 5.9, then I know that it's still right because it's very, very close to that answer. And the only reason why I didn't get it right is because I rounded my answers. Okay, so when you get your answers, as you work, as you practice them, just double check that you will get the answers down on the end. Okay, so that's it for now. And as usual, if you've got any questions, then just let me know.